Well, hello. This is Gina Tudela. Okay, I forewarned you earlier this morning I was going to be showing you how to do a fall card. And I've got to flip my camera around to face. There we go. Anyways, so we are using pumpkin pie, old olive, crushed curry, and mossy meadow. And today I'm going to demonstrate autumn leaves from the new mini catalog. But you can use any type of fall theme. But these are also made out of photopolymer. So I'm going to give you a heads up on these. When you go to take them off the plastic, especially the delicate ones, gently peel them off because they stick very well. And just slowly pull them. They can tear, so just be careful and slowly peel them off. Now, when you're done with these, you can place them on the case where they have the images, as I'm going to show right here. Just like that. And the benefit of photopolymer is you can see through the stamp also. So we're going to be using these 3 leaves today. Just making a background. Just going to show you how easy. And if you're not familiar with the ink pads, you just push, pull back, and you don't have to lock them in place if you don't want to, but I usually do. And then when you close them, you pull forward, lift up, and then lock back in. So let's get started. Let me get the pads all open. And when they're brand new, they are a little bit harder to open. So my suggestion, take a Q-tip and run along the grid here on both sides. That helps it slide back and forth. Close that up. Of course, I've already got ink on my finger. Yeah, that's all right. That's normal to par when you're stamping. And earlier I mentioned to have a 4 by 5 1/4. And the reason for this is this way you can layer it onto another piece of white cardstock, or it can be a colored piece of cardstock. And I told you it didn't matter what color you use today, as long as you use something that was a light colored. So first off, whenever we're using a bigger stamp, which is going to have more color, you want to go with the lightest color. So I'm going to use the crushed curry. And when you ink up your stamps, you're just going to walk it across the pad. And the first time using a photopolymer, you always want to stamp on the paper first, just to get a feel. There we go. So I'm going to ink it up again. And then I'm going to go ahead and let me move my ink pads out of the way so that way I'm in more of the camera. Hello, Shirley. And some of y'all will be coming up, but keep in mind, I can't stamp and look at the screen at the same time. I am not built that way. But I'll look back and forth at the screen as I'm stamping. So, see how that did? Now, if we wanted to do it first, second, and third generation, because this part of the leaf was off, it's not going to be right, so I'm going to turn it around and stamp it over here where that darker part will be off. So it kind of gives you, that's first and second generation. So there's the yellow, which is crushed curry. And now I'm going to use the oak leaf, and then I'm going to use that with the pumpkin pie. And keep in mind, these have not been inked, so I am going to stamp it on the scrap sheet. And so that far tells you I stamped it a little too much, pressed too hard. And then I'm just going to stamp this one generation. And then see how it's dark? I don't want that on the paper, because then it would look funky. And then there's 2 generation. And then, of course, you could go with another one and just have a partial. And then that's 3rd generation. But that was the side that had all the ink, okay? Now we're going to go with these 2 small leaves. And because I've got 2 greens, one is the Mossy Meadow. I'm going to do that one last, but I'm going to go with Old Olive. And you notice I have left the area in the center empty, so that way we could put a sentiment. Yes. So let me stamp off the paper, then re-ink it. Remember that it doesn't matter whether it's photopolymer or red rubber. If it's the first time inking it up, you always want to ink it up, stamp off, then re-ink it. And so here's another one. So I'm going to just twist that off. Then I'm going to stamp off and then stamp on. See, it gives you 2 colors. So keep in mind, your ink pads can be lighter tones as well. So you don't have to, when you're first starting off, you don't have to have all the colors. Just choose out your basic 8, which would be, one would be a yellow of your choice, a red of your choice, a green, a blue, a purple. You definitely want to have the Memento Black, which is not a color. It's just one of those primaries that you got to use for anything. So let me go with the Mossy Meadow. There's the olive. Let me move that out of my way. And stamp that. And it's going to be a darker green. So I can tell right now I don't need to re-ink that. That's dark. So let me bring that over here and turn it so it's going a different direction. And then I'm going to bring it over here to there. And so I've left that spot empty. So, how do we clean stamps? Well, we have what you call a Shammy. And it's easy. You just rinse out. Yes, mine is well used, well loved. You just twist it and then tap. And the stamp is all clean. And I'm going to clean these off as go. And keep in mind, most of your reds, your purples, and your blues will stain the stamps. So you can see how that one's already stained. And that was from the pumpkin pie. Clean off the crushed curry. I didn't clean that off real well. And you flip this over. It's always like 2 sides of the paper, 2 sides of the chamois. There we go. Got those all cleaned off. Anyways, so there's that. And now they have a couple of sentiments, but I love this one. Autumn teaches us that change can be beautiful. So I'm going to stamp that. So let's pull that off. Oops, don't have it in the case. So as I said earlier, when peeling these off, gently pull. There we go. And then we're going to mount this to a block. And do the same thing when you remove it from the block. Okay. So I'm going to use the pumpkin pie to stamp the sentiment. Or you could use early espresso too. But it's going to just stamp it right there. Nice, right? And then if you wanted to soften the white up, you can use the blending brush or a sponge. I wouldn't suggest a sponge dauber unless you're adding the ink to the stamp itself. But let me close these pads up. And then when you have your card base, and I'm just going to use a white one today, just to show. I cut the paper at 5.5 by 8.5 on the 11-inch side. And because I'm going to make it a book fold. Now, if you wanted to open up like a horizontal fold this way, you would want to cut it at 4.25 on the 8.5 side, which would make it 4.25 by 11. But today we're just going to make a book fold. This is a normal size card, A2. And then we're just going to use our Tombow Multipurpose. You can use dimensionals, but keep in mind when you add dimensionals, you do have to pay the extra postage. Now I'm just going to go thin line all the way around the frame here. And then just do a little zigzag. And the reason why I use the multipurpose glue, it's easy to position and it gives you time to set it. Whereas if you use a regular tape adhesive, you may end up tearing your paper. And I'm just going to eye it the best of my ability. And then you're just going to press around the frame. That's why I said it's important not to get too close to the outside edge with the glue, because it will seep out. But there is an easy card, quite easy to create multiple of them. And remember, fall is this Saturday, and we've already got the Christmas coolness in the air. It's a beautiful sunny day. So, anyways, let me know in the comments, what would you like to see next? Okay? And remember, I do have a YouTube channel, and for those who were not able to catch me live today, I'm going to choose out different time frames throughout the day because I have people all over the United States at different time zones and some that are abroad in the other foreign countries that we are located now in, I'm friends with. So my Creating on a Whim with the exclamation point is my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, please do so at your convenience. You do have to have a Gmail account to subscribe to YouTube. So just to give you a heads up. Anyways, thank you for joining me today. Have a wonderful afternoon. Bye-bye.